Hello and welcome back to my channel. Now this is some radiator pipes that you can see ahead of you. I'll explain this, although I look like an idiot talking. My hand's currently on the screen. But unfortunately my GoPro decided that the microphone wasn't worth recording on this. So I've got to do this really rubbish voiceover. So, what do we have here? Well, after its MOT, it decided that the radiator which you can see with the silver hose clamp on it decided to blow off the end, emptying the entire contents of the said radiator over the floor on the M60. Not good. We limped it off the M60 and got it to where we could to repair it and put a temporary hose clamp on, which is the one you can see now. It is silver. The rusty one is still in place. The original plan here was to take off both hose clamps, the one at the top that you can see which is knackered, and the ones that are down there, and then replacing them all in one go. So here we can see me taking off the silver hose clamp, which is obviously the easier one to take off because it's brand spanking new. Do this by undoing the screw until the overlap of the clamp comes out, and then you're able to split them apart and unwrap them from the pipe. That is one way of doing it. The better way to doing it is keeping them closed and then just feeding them up and down the pipe, but not in every circumstances this is possible, as you can see here. The area that we're working in is quite a restricted place. I'm trying to not block the camera view at the same time, but even if we weren't filming, it is quite a horrible place to work in, especially with that pillar in front and the oil tank next door to it. So what we're going to do now is we're going to skip on somewhat. You can use, for these, you can use a flathead screwdriver bit, a Phillips bit on some pieces, and it's normally a 7mm socket piece which does the job. As you can see here, a lot of the water emptied out. So we'll just let what water we've got that can drain out, and then we'll set to work attempting to take off the old hose clamps, which are probably dated from 1999. So after some nice tricky work with the angle grinder to get the top one off, we're going to be doing the same for the bottom one. Or I tell a lie, the rear one, the front top one is just coming off now, and that's the state of it. It was never going to undo, and those that are a nice Patreon viewer will have just seen me removing that. But now we've got for step 2, which is removing the bottom one. After I failed to be able to remove the pipe from the end because it's all stuck on. If we ever have to remove this pipe and replace this pipe, it's going to be a job where we're going to have to cut the end off to be able to make it work. Not ideal. And at this part I just noticed how I've got a bit of a low oil level. But anyway, back to the job in hand. I'm going to now see my favourite toy come out. As you can see, there isn't much to play with on this. I do try with the pliers and the cutters just to be able to try and see if I can get it to turn. I couldn't really be bothered using WD-40 because these hose clamps are never going to get used again because, as you can see, they are well past it. So in I go with this. Watching my fingers very carefully whilst doing this. I would insert some grinder noises here, but I think that's a bit too X-rated. You notice how I've got the shield on the grinder so it aims the sparks away from the oil tank? That was a big issue. Didn't want them going onto the oil tank because sparks, hotness and oil tend not to mix very well. As you can see, the metal does get quite warm. And in hindsight, I wouldn't have let it go and touch that pipe. Nevertheless, for those that are wondering, the blade spins towards the camera. The guard is on, so the chance of it actually cutting my fingers if it slipped are quite small. If it was the other way round, then I definitely would not be doing this. But all I'm doing is I'm going through the metal. Get as close as possible to the pipe, to the point where the metal is weak enough for either the screw to give up or the clamp to give up. It is just a chance of which one comes first. These are extreme measures to get these off. A lot of the hose clamps and pipe work on the vehicle may have not ever been changed from new. And this is the sort of issues that this comes when it's old and it's had water, coolant, oil, the full works dumped all over it, road salts. These things aren't really designed to take that sort of abuse and punishment on a daily basis. And pop, it comes off. So now the job is to put new ones on. Just inspecting the pipe here to make sure I've not angle grinded into any part of it, because that would not be good news now. I'd end up with quite a leak very quickly. Making sure that I've not damaged the pipe here and it's all secure still, even though it's not got any hose clamps on it. Then we go for the trouble of picking the correct sizes. Those are what I can't remember. I do believe, from my memory, that the top pipe was a thicker fitting, which I ended up using, if I do remember rightly, a 32 to 50mm hose clamp to ensure I've got a lot of extra spare on the hose clamp to make sure I can get the hose clamp down really tightly. Better to use slightly too large and be able to shrink them down rather than use just the right size and only have a tad of the screw head on the hose clamp itself. That screw is what holds the clamp together. The pressure and expansion, you want that to be firm as possible. After struggling with the smaller size, you here see me bring in the larger puppy. Screwing this up from here is a lot easier, and I will go and get a socket wrench in a second to be able to put on the end of the screwdriver, because again, that is so much easier than trying to struggle with this crappy flathead screwdriver. I'll let you see me struggle to do this. As you can see, it's putting up quite a fight, and I know this video is not the best because there is audio missing. I chat absolute rubbish in my videos, and it normally makes people quite happy and funny. But fortunately, I missed all of this out in this one because, yeah. So I am, like you, having to watch this back to be able to do the voiceover for it, which wasn't ideal. So it looks like I've now got the hose clamp on. Yes, I'm just getting the pink spanner out, because pink is my colour, which is the 7mm spanner in my set. Yes, I do have a girly set. I have a full multicoloured Draper set of spanners, ranging from black to gold. So we're going to jump on now to the part where I'm going to put in the other hose clamp and struggle like hell with that one. All you need to do is make sure these hose clamps are as tight as possible. You'll get to a point where it will jump. When it jumps, just tighten it up that little bit further, just so you're on the edge of it jumping, and then that is that fully tightened into place. Time now to put on the other hose clamp. Here you can see me trying to work out what size it was, because these pipes are slightly different from the rest. They allow a 33mm hose clamp, but it is snug, to say the least. I did also detect another leak in this process, but that I fixed quite quickly off camera. So this is the 33 hose, that's my hand. This is the 33 hose clamp piece that I had, that we bought from the shop. But it doesn't seem that that was going to go over the pipe and that now in its location in replacing the old one. So we needed the slightly larger one, and again we went for, I think it was a 30 to 45mm hose clamp. You can get hose clamps from places like the Range in Manchester, on Lime Square in Audenshaw, or any card places will normally do a vast range of hose clamps. When I stocked up, I bought a good range of them, because you never know what you're going to need, and it's normally cheaper than having them shipped to you. The hose clamp that we got at the side of the road to repair the vehicle cost me £1. Can't argue with £1. So here we're now going to see me struggle to put it on, and struggle to take it off, to replace it if I remember correctly. I've gone to go get the socket piece at this point, which you can now see on the end of the screwdriver, which just makes the job slightly easier. Now I'm trying to do this up, and then I end up undoing it because it doesn't quite fit right. It's too snug. And then when you was doing it up, it was moving up the pipe and then not gripping onto the metal pipe that it needs to grip onto to stop leaks and stop the hose from blowing off again when it becomes pressurised. Oh, it's kind of nippy in here. So that is currently what I'm going to be doing, what I'm doing now. And, well, hey, the next bit is the first bit that only works with the microphone, so enjoy the proper commentary. So with the little battery I've got left on this camera, new hose clamp. Let's see if this wants to play ball games. Hold it in position as long as I can. It seems to be a bit better. Bottom needs wiggling about. It needs to be undone ever so slightly so I can wiggle. Yeah, it! So that now moves again. The other thing that probably helped the situation is a smaller screwdriver. Can't have everything, can we? It seems to be doing the trick now. The test will be when we come to try and pull it off and see if it comes off. If it comes off, then it's still buggered. Seems to be accepting that for. There you go. Look, that is now on. That is not coming off. So, time to replace the water we lost. Back to business as usual, and back to the commentary. So, here I'm now going to fill it up. We've got a new cap, as you can see. I do have to walk off and get some water in a minute. There will be no pressure behind the cap because we've just had a massive hole in the system. So what I'm going to do now is the ignition is set on. The sight glass on this vehicle doesn't work very well. It does work, but not very well. So I've just put a latch over the bonnet latch. We're going to start the bus up. It's best to have the system running when you start the bus up. And you're about to see a cold start. It's a shame you can't hear a cold start, isn't it? Let's wait for it. Wait for the cloud. There we go. Hey! That's a cold start and a half. It's a bit foggy, but never mind. As you can see, I look like a mentalist talking to myself here with no words. Make the audio up. So I've got the water, if I remember rightly. Yeah, there we go. I've got the water. So we're going to fill it up now. Occasionally you'll see it spit out a bit because it's replacing the air that's inside the system with the water. We've not added coolant as such. What we found is it's best to test the system first with water because it's cheap. Well, you don't pay anything for water really, do you? So we test the system with water, then if it's good we'll drain the system and put coolant back in. As you see there, it's just kicked out as air is now getting in the system. I'm just checking just inside the bonnet of the water level on the expansion tank, which should be mimicked by the min max on the side. However, A, because we're using water, it's clear liquid, you can't really see the system. And B, the min max doesn't work very well. So we're just going to repeat this process until we've got a decent min max level. Or you run out of water. I believe I run out of water first, so I have to go refill the water, and then we want to run the bus at full pelt for just a few seconds, just to make it so it spins the pump up and makes it pump water around the entire system. Otherwise you could find yourself setting off and then 2 minutes later you've got a low water light on because it's pumped this water around the system. It also helps that all the air that's in the system can come out. Buses can take up to 30 litres of coolant. That's a lot of coolant and a lot of expense, which is why you can probably see now why we're using water instead of coolant to test the system and making sure that it is watertight. Because if you drop 30 litres of coolant on the floor, you're looking at quite an expensive bill. So I'll do here, just put the cap back on, just for now. Just so it can build some pressure up while I go rev the engine. You may see it spin a bit quicker, but I very much doubt it because of the angle I've chosen here. Yeah, there you go. You can just see it, just the oscillation of that there. Pointing with my mouse, you can't see my mouse, but you can see it just on the wheel. We'll jump ahead now to when we're coming back. I'm back with fresh water. Well, more water. When I opened the cap, I was listening for a as the pressure in the system is building. There's a slight one, but not much. I discovered that later on, once I'd filled the radiator system up, that there was a slight leak. This leak has been rectified, and now pressure does build in the system as it should. For now. No doubt I'll have to replace a few pipes again very shortly. I do know there's a few that do need replacing. Here I'm struggling to see the water level, that's because it's gone above the maximum. But it will sort itself out as it runs around the system, and shortly after filming it did lower below max. If you fill it above max and keep it filled, which is what a lot of companies do, which is fill it up to the brim, you'll find the pressure inside the system is so immense that you're more than likely, more than normal should I say, to get a burst water pipe from the system, because you're putting the system under immense pressure. It needs that extra space in that tank, which is why they call it the expansion tank, to be able to expand the liquid and the gases. Then as the bus cools, it turns the gases back into a liquid. It's like science. So here I am now, talking like a mentalist to myself, not realising the camera isn't recording any audio. But basically what I've said is, we've now filled it up, we're now done, and this is now where I notice a slight dripping. And I fixed the issue shortly after, but not on camera. So that is replacing the water pipe. Last thing I need to do is now put the body panels back on, lock up, and put my tools away. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this video informative as I can make it, with not being able to record audio at the time, and remembering what I said the day after whilst doing it. So thanks for watching, and we'll see you again. Don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Don't forget to press that bell icon and make sure you're notified every time I make a post. You can become a patron with the link down below, or searching www.patreon.com/Mancbuses. You can find me on Facebook as well at Facebook/Mancbuses, and on Instagram with the hashtag @Mancbuses. I'd like to thank all my patrons for their help and support in this video, and the upcoming months that they have been supporting me. So for me, that's everything. Let's put the bus back together.